Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of this series of interviews that will be conducting to the top 25 European players who rightfully qualified for the Anaheim World Championship 2025 in Pokemon Go. With me, we have not only a decent player, I'd say, but also the one who will be casting the World Championship. Welcome to Inadequance.
Yes, thank you, Leonardo. Glad to be here.
Nice to have you here. Yeah, first things first, introduce yourself. Your name is already appearing here, but yeah, your name, how old are you, what do you do for a living, and how did you get close to the game?
My name is Martijn, in-game name Inadequance. I'm a currently content creator on YouTube and Twitch for Pokemon Go, and I also commentate at the events. Currently, I don't know if I want to call casting slash content creation my occupation, because I am looking for something that's more full-time, and that used to be logistics. I studied logistics management, and what I'm currently looking for is more in the direction of project work. And I have some things lined up, of course, with so many events throughout. It's been a little bit difficult to get interviews in because I've been casting quite some events, but that's mostly about me. 29 years old, competing now and then, casting now and then. That's me.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. It'll still had a nice revenue from your casting activity, I suppose. So
Hmm.
still a nice way to get engaged to the game and still do something you love. Okay, so I see here in front of me you played only 4 events, but because you were otherwise busy elsewhere. But still, you attended a lot of events, either as a caster or either
Hmm.
as a competitor. Just briefly speaking about your competitor experience this year. So 4 consistent results overall, I'd say. I mean, way more than consistent. Well,
Hmm.
3 fourth places in a row before closing the season in your home country,
Hmm.
in 33rd place, so barely missing out on the day two.
Yeah,
But I suppose that playing with Rayquaza,
not easy.
yeah, had these side effects. How many times did you actually use it?
Used only one game. The thing is, the experience that I had from bringing something ridiculous like Shadow Palkia to EYC, I lost every game with when I used Palkia at EYC, except against in my first round against someone who hadn't played PvP before. So I was like, maybe I should try to avoid it and only like showboat it when I get on stream. The thing is, in hindsight, I felt like many of the teams that I played into, Rayquaza actually may have been pretty good. So the first round that I lost, it was not good at all because my opponent had Tinkaton. Most of my opponents had Azumarill, and that's what I was actually intending to use it against, because before Tinkaton was released, I already was very much inclined, insisting on bringing Rayquaza. That was an Azumarill meta. And when you have like a shield advantage as Rayquaza or some energy advantage, you could win that matchup versus the most popular fairy type in the game. Then Tinkaton came out, became a little bit more difficult. I used it in the second game of the round where I got knocked out because I lost the first game in that match. And I was like, well, if I go out, then at least it will be with style points. And then I managed to Dragon Ascent a Lapras. So
Oh,
worth
okay.
it.
How much damage did it actually do?
Unfortunately, the Lapras already was chipped down to like 60% HP. I think it does about 73-ish percent, something about that to a Lapras, because I know it does
Okay,
like 65% to an Azumarill.
okay, easy kill then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm also seeing Shadow Dust Noir, which I do like a lot because
Hmm.
I also was I mean I had been considering Shadow Dust Noir for a very long time before just deciding that it wasn't worth it. But just because I was too afraid of using it in a turret heavy meta. If you want to beat turret, you need to have a lot of energy or just 1 to 0
Yeah.
shield advantage. So I wasn't really feeling that great. But how did you go for you?
The reason why I brought Dusknoir was for a Lapras. I thought Dusclops may be a little bit better because with Ice Punch, you do much better into a Pokemon like Jumpluff. But at the time, like, of course, now Dusclops is very meta. But at the time, I felt like it was a little bit risky. I went for Dusknoir just because it felt more degen. Like 2 shield scenarios were just much better than that of Dusclops. The only thing I had to be careful of, and the entire team honestly wasn't too great into it, was Drapion. Honestly, one of the reasons why I think Utrecht didn't go well, of course, my first loss I kind of misplayed. I feel like, well, didn't misplay, but I got greedy. I just didn't. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out Rayquaza. I tried like 18 different drafts. Right, making something work like a Rayquaza is not an easy task. And I tried to make it unique. Right, I don't want to just copy paste the team from like Pocket, who shows like what the best Pokemon are in the meta like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's usually safe to copy someone else's team, especially if this team won an event. But yeah, you already have to assume that you're not going to be the only one using this strategy. So, like at the end of the day, almost 30% of the teams are going to be like 90% similar, if not higher, to the team that won the previous event. And this happened for the Pocket and Night and Clashes team. This happened also for the Axon team with the Blastoise. Yes, I was a Blastoise user before Axon won the event, so I was actually a bit.
It was low in Utrecht, I think.
Yeah. I had the Blastoise in Utrecht as well, but yeah, it didn't go as well as I wish it was. But it actually revealed that, I mean, Blastoise turned out to be a very, very safe swap, a very good safe swap. I actually liked it. I just wasn't strong enough against Drapion, and bad team from me. So let's dive into your season more on the commentator side. What's the most exciting match that you have commented, that you've casted this season?
I would definitely have to say, like, specific match or matchup. I think that Patament versus its Axon, like the most recent one where he won on a nice slash boost. I'm not gonna say all of the games Patament got back was deserved, but dude, the way he got back, it definitely was exciting, right? I think that was one of the better ones, and also paired with Wholesome went really well, I think.
Yeah, I remember you were claiming you were having a heart attack after like 3 nice slash boosts in a row from Pat. Yeah.
I was like, "What is going on, dude? How does he do it?" I think I kind of lost what to say. Like I was mid sentence, and he just gets another nice slash boost.
Yeah. I was laughing. Axon was laughing.
Greninja was
everyone
laughing,
was laughing.
Yeah.
It was extremely tragicomic because, and actually also the last game where Pato was already going defeated. But yeah, he boosted again, like as the most of the classic unnecessary boosts. And that's always like it seems to be made on purpose from the game. Every time when you're about to lose and you boost when it's no longer needed, that's always like this. But I actually did enjoy that. I mean, it was full of content. Those 5 minutes were really full of content. I really enjoyed that.
It's fun to watch for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And okay, let's stay a bit into NAIC at this point, because there are a lot of discussions that I have already made with the past guests of this show about where the meta is actually going, and basically no one knows, no one can know, and because we won't be having any large event that can help us understand better. NAIC is going to be basically the last one transmitted, unless I'm mistaken. But
it's going to be the Japanese qualifiers. It's going to be the last one broadcasted, but I don't know how much.
Are they going to be transmitted? Okay.
Yes, cool. It should be. Well, right now it's Thursday. It should be Sunday. I believe it's a 1-day tournament.
Okay, that's great. I honestly looking forward to watch the VOD for sure. Because also to get some insight from the Japanese players, because they usually build extremely differently from how I'm used to team build. But were you expecting only 30% of the Dene and only 30% of Diggersby, because in your tournaments practices, the usage was like probably 60% each. And then we saw fewer and fewer Diggersby and the Dene, but 70% of Dust Globes.
Yeah, correct. Um, I think that the practice tournaments give you a broad indication of what is probably coming and what you're about to face, especially amongst some of the top competitors. But it's not always going to be 100% accurate. I think like in order of usage, something like the Dennett Diggersby Dust Clubs, we were accurate on what the top usage kind of was going to be. There were way fewer Galarian Moltres than I expected, way more Mandibus than I thought we would see.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of tough to envision, because I think if you look at who actually practices in my server, it's gonna be like, I think most of the time about 30% of the actual tournament. So 70% gets their information elsewhere. Maybe they just only look at the graphic and they're like, okay, this is what I see. Or maybe they just look at a winning team and like take that or adapt it a little bit. So
Yeah.
you know, I think it's useful, the both practice and the usage to take a look at, but I would never take it for 100%. And on top of that, as a competitor, the actual numbers might just not be relevant for you. Because, for example, in Utrecht, I chose to be a little bit weaker. I chose between two teams. One of them was weaker to Greatly, the other one to Furret. I went with the team weak to the team was weak to Drapion. I faced Drapion every round, and Paula faced Greyley every round. And yeah, so what does that tell you, right? It can just really go that way. The most important thing is that you pick 6 Pokemon you're comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly. I was kind of weak to Emolga in Stockholm, and I've faced basically all Emolga users in the whole town, in the whole city.
It wasn't
like
top 12, was
yeah,
it?
it was top 8.
So
but
really? Okay.
but yeah, top 8 with fewer than 64 players. So it's not as good on at the end of the day as a top 12 in London in USC. Yeah, but yeah, so basically just the aggregate usage and the practice tournaments that you do just help you define what the top 12 is going to be. And but yeah, the granular percentages just are going to vary, and you can't do I think just anything about that. It's not your fault. It's no one's fault. Just pure variability and chaos. Sometimes just people just wake up the same very morning and say, okay, actually I want to change this pick. I want to bring Mandibus this time, not Moltres.
Exactly.
Yeah. But what's wrong with all these Mandibus, by the way? Was that just to absorb Scizor's energy a little bit better?
I think that is one of the reasons. What Mandibus does over Galarian Moltres is beat Golisopod and Primeape. I think that is some of the main reasons. I'm personally not a Mandibus fan, because whenever you lose alignment to a Dedenne, there's no coming back from that unless you have a Pokemon in the back that could take out 2 Pokemon or flip switch. Because Mandibus with 2 shield advantage will still lose to Dedenne. Like that's a hopeless situation.
Yeah, and we see a couple of times on stream, right? That a Mandibus with like 2 shields to 0 just lost to the Dene. Yeah, is the meta going to have it as any problem?
Well, you're gonna kind of have to figure out with the new community days coming up, because I think that Como actually might be very viable with something like
Poison
Poison Jab, exactly. The thing is, do you drop Dragon Claw or Close Combat? I feel like you need the coverage both, but what's a move called? Clanging Skills is looking so freaking good, dude.
Yeah, that's an embarrassing amount of damage. And yeah, so basically you don't even need like the fighting moves for the normal types. You can just go Clanging Scales, and it's basically the same. Probably, I mean, the only reason you might need close combat is if Tinkaton comes back again, you need to throw something neutral. But yeah, even that way, you're still in a terrible situation. You need to shield twice in order to, and Tinkaton needs to shield 0 times in order for you to win that matchup. So I don't know how many combo we will see, but
Hmm.
yeah, I was surprised by how centralizing the Dene has become in the meta, despite being only in 35% of the team. But yeah, people are forced to reckon with the Dene and to be triple strong into it in your team of six. And I think it has a similar role to what Corso had. It was
Yeah,
so strong, but it forced everyone to bring Diggersby, otherwise it couldn't be stopped.
yeah,
So that's why I believe we currently might have a Dedenne problem, just because it's Dedenne and anti Dedenne and anti Dedenne. So I don't know. The winner of the worlds maybe will be those that the one player that is gonna bring a couple of very nasty core breakers that no one was thinking about, maybe with
yeah.
very diversified coverage
Hmm.
outside of the top 200 in PvP, top 300. Something very, very strange. But
Okay. Salazzle.
yeah, yeah. I mean, why not?
Just say something.
Yeah, yeah. But this kind of picks actually are going to be more successful than ever, I think, because otherwise, I mean, you need some polarizers so that you're able to understand what your opponent is going to bring.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
were you surprised about the Araquanid? I didn't expect the Araquanid to be this impactful.
I'm glad Araquanid came out because I wrote the 2025 NASC preview as well for the Pokemon website, but I did this like a little bit. It was even before Portland, and I named Araquanid in it. I had like a couple calls in it, and I had like 2 days to write it really. So I had to make a quick estimation kind of. And Araquanid was one of the Pokemon I named because I'm like, there's no way Fortress becomes this meta, especially when Fire type Pokemon and Diggersby annihilated. Diggersby, of course, already being so good. Um, so yeah, Araquanid, I'm not super surprised, like especially with Bug by doing more damage. I was actually surprised to see more Golisopod. And one thing that I may have even expected was Aerial Ace on it, because I don't really see a lot of reason for X Scissor on
Yeah.
Golisopod anymore. It's only like Lapras, but I thought Lapras usage would go down. Um, I don't know. I don't know what I think of Araquanid. I mean, our accent put up a great show with it. I think Doom. The only reason Doombug, I wouldn't say failed, but didn't get as far with it, was because he had no good scissor answer. Because he had like a Gligar. I don't remember what accent had in the place, and then Doombug runs into a scissor, and it just gets his team just got steamrolled. Whereas Axon had a
Mm.
little bit of a better grip on it with his picks. So yeah, Araquanid's a good Pokemon for sure.
Yeah. Also, yeah, being able to resist bullet punch and still being able to deal what it looks like neutral damage to Scissor despite being resisted,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
makes it a powerhouse. Also, it beats Mandibuss in every seal scenario. Basically, a straight bubble beam. That's insane. Uh, yeah, the damage of bug bites now has become a true force, like
Hmm.
a bug dragon breath,
Yeah.
literally. And yeah, so Caesar and Araconi just won the battle of bugs, and Golisopod and Fortress just are trailing behind, way behind.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so I'm gonna skip all the questions that I would ask to competitors,
Okay.
but yeah,
I mean, I
but
do consider myself somewhat of a competitor, but this season just didn't really come out the way I was hoping it to be on the competitive side. Because 4 tournaments, I definitely would have liked to play more uh, in some way.
yeah, maybe next year. I don't know your plans, but
Me either.
yeah,
So
yeah, the,
just like fingers crossed I get the events that I want.
yeah. Um, do you usually, I mean, even if you are not going to a particular tournament or event, do you usually try and team build yourself just to gauge how on point your calls are? So for example,
um,
did you team build for the NISC despite you don't play?
yes and no. Not for NEIC, but I played in 2 other Great League tournaments. And combined with that, and usually locals, not for this time, I usually have a pretty good grasp on it. The thing is, I do like to build a bit out of the box, so my teams will never really be equal to what like someone like its Axon or Ilum would bring. But yeah, I can see 1-2 weeks before tournaments, I can see the top meta coming and what I need to cover.
Yeah. And which Shadow Legendary would you bring to Anaheim if you were competing?
I would actually not play a Shadow Legendary. If I were to play an Anaheim, I would be playing Giratina Origin again. I've been
Okay.
trying it out. I've been able to make it work. I went like, I think I had 3 losses over 15 best of threes with Giratina, and those were with like teams that I just made on the fly because I was literally flying to New York and everything. Uh, yeah, that just makes me believe again, you know?
And even if you had access by Absurd to the Shadow variant of Giratina, would you still bring the regular one?
Ooh. I don't know the difference in matchups. The thing is, what's so perfect about regular Origin Giratina is that it never really goes down to one charge stack by most Pokemon, right? If you think of like Azumarill, you hang on to a player of and an Ice Beam, bubbles are resisted. That makes Giratina Origin in its current form so perfect. So I don't think Shadow would do better necessarily. Maybe as a closer. The problem with Giratina as a closer, it's a Pokemon you need to be so careful with because every Pokemon has a dark or slash normal type. So like if you play Giratina, it can hardly ever be a closer because if you put all your shields on it and there's a third in the back, it's just that's
Mm.
not happening.
What about Dragon Tail Shadow Giratina?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think there's way better Dragon Tail users because it just doesn't
Yeah,
really have great charge attacks to pair with it. Like if you had Dragon Claw with it, yeah, sure. But I think Dragapult is just a better Pokemon for that.
yeah. Well, I have to tell you a secret. I'm secretly praying every night on my bed, hoping that they will release the altered for Great League.
Yeah, what's it do?
Yeah, it's super bulky.
I'm aware of it. I just wonder how many matchups it's going to win. Of course, like bulk here helps, but the thing is, if they bring it out, I think it will probably debut in its shadow form, and in that case, it might just be a little bit
Mm,
disappointing because you still get knocked out by
yeah,
like a single player from the den or something.
yeah. I remember I had looked at the Giratina altered matchups like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was extremely surprised. Something like yeah, of course with the Shadow Claw variant, but
Hmm.
it I believe it used to be the Zumaru,
Hmm.
like in the twos, but probably in the ones as well, because it was insanely bulky. I might
Yeah.
be remembering wrong things right now because I mean 3 years have passed, but yeah. I actually, yeah, that's legendary. I'm actually looking forward to see available in Great League, and yeah, it hasn't been released yet. But if you were a gym leader, so yeah, what kind of you can use dual type? You can use dual type for your answer. So what would you bring? And optional answer, what would your badge be
I
or
think
look like?
uh I think it will be like ghost type. Um when I had the rules interview, they asked me which Pokemon type would be. I answered fire because I didn't want to answer ghost because I feel like that's what you do when you're undead. But that
Yeah.
um one of the reasons why I thought ghost actually fits better is because I do have a tendency to make good calls, predictions, and confuse people. Especially if
Mm.
you remember like playing the red or blue, and you face a Ghastly, they use freaking Confuse Ray. That's me, man. That's me. So I think something like that. Gym Leader generally does have legendary Pokemon, so I guess I cannot put Giratina on it. Um, but yeah, I don't know, something like that. It's just a very neutral typing most of the time, right? So they're usually like very playable, and some Ghost type Pokemon are just like my favorite to play. Like Dusknoir, I think a really cool Pokemon too, right?
Yeah.
Gengar is one of my favorites out there.
Yeah. And Sableye has been
Sableye, another one, yeah.
the yeah, Sableye has been the safe swap for like 3 years, 4 years.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, and maybe your gym badge would be in the shape of a chandelier. Yeah,
Yes, that's a good one. A Pokemon I haven't thought about as much lately. Like it used to be my signature Pokemon because I reached rank 2 on the leaderboard on it in Ultra Premier at the time, like the one where you can't use.
long
Uh,
time ago.
it was you couldn't use legendaries and not Excel Pokemon, and I used a team that was Dragonite, Abomasnow, Chandler, and yeah, then people started me calling me Candleman, so I just went with it, I guess. Yeah, Chandler would definitely be, or a candle-shaped badge would definitely fit it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, let's talk about a bit before the final remarks about your local PvP scene. You probably had one of the most stacked local PvP scene, don't you?
No, I've like the tactical Triptando, Stan, Easy Claps. Yeah, there's some good players. So we have like in the west of Netherlands, we have a bit of a very concentrated group of people. I would say maximum 8 or so. And then on the east, we hardly have any locals. But when we have locals, there can be up to like I've had locals there that have like 20 people at them, like a crazy amount. So west of Netherlands, I think I could definitely do like 2 locals a week. But there's
Okay,
mostly gonna be like
cool.
4 to 6 people, and then east of Netherlands, once per 3 months, 20 people.
Yeah, I can understand you. I also have easy wins in my local scene. I have Kazim, Farid, Maxi. Yeah,
Absolute easy, yeah. Your eyes closed. Your eyes closed.
yeah. Are there any rising players from your local scene that are not well known yet? So you would call them the Crabberola, right?
Ah,
Uh,
good question.
yeah, I listen to your and Amanda's podcast sometimes. Sometimes I do.
um,
Uh,
I'm hoping one of the locals that I have. He actually lived nearby. This is like the first actual local that I would have. 010 DSN. He played in Utrecht as well. He actually won a local after a year for the first time. That was with me, Stan, and Triptando at look. So like pretty good opponents, I hope. And he won that one for his first time. So I see like steps going there. He did a lot of practice for Utrecht. Only went 1-2, unfortunately. Fun fact: he brought his friend who never played PvP before because I promised him a shiny Mudbrave who would come. And then he came and he went 3-2, better than his friends. So kind of tough. But I'm hoping that he could pick up at some point, get on stream, maybe top 16 somewhere, go some regional, qualify for Worlds. I don't know if he can do that next season, but I know it was a goal for him this season. Could make it happen early on and kind of gave up on the season.
yeah, and also I remember you were spending nice words for Gideon, your Netherlands teammate.
Hmm.
Is he gonna compete in Play Pokemon next year? I don't know if he has
Dude,
been competing this.
I keep telling him. For Utrecht, I think he had like a misregistered. I think he put like a hydro pump for alligator on his team sheet or something. He's just a little bit careless about it. Unfortunately, I think he's. This might surprise you because he's actually really good at PvP, but he's just a casual player. He's just casually catches, drives around, does like mapping for good IVs and everything. Yeah, I keep telling him, you're good at PvP. You've beaten me multiple times. Why not? Why not make an attempt? But yeah, he doesn't. He also is like busy with work a lot. So
Yeah, I mean, God knows how many hidden talents are just uh, keeping
yeah,
hidden below or just beneath paperwork, normal life. It
yeah,
makes sense. Still, yeah, heartbreaking when you see a sparkle of pure talent in someone, and yeah, but
yeah.
he has other
Oh,
plans.
heartbreaking. I don't know. I mean, he'll
Well,
play in
yeah, we
Utrecht
are
for sure.
exaggerating here, but
Yeah, like he'll play gym breakers as well, and he just stays in touch. It's not like he's not interested or anything. He just doesn't see the value for himself in playing competitive. And maybe at some point he likes it. He just needs like 16 heads up on Gideon. Don't forget, there's a regional. There's a event coming up because he forgot about Dortmund, which is like an hour drive for him. And I'm like, brother, could have been you there, man.
yeah, I mean, maybe this year, maybe
Perhaps.
sorry next year.
I hope so.
Okay. So next question before we hit the closing remarks. Um, are there any games, any other games that you actually love to play more or less competitively? But I don't know. You
No,
tell me.
I'm bad at games. I'm actually surprised I can still keep up with Pokemon Go. I used to be like really freaking good at FIFA. I played like local competitive prize tournaments there, and I won a lot of them. Um, but like that was FIFA 16. That's been like what 9 years now. I
Oh,
used
FIFA
to.
16. I'd already quit playing FIFA at that time. I'm more of a FIFA 10
Yeah, I
guy.
think it had like just like Ultimate Team came out and everything, and Weekend League, and I used to grind it every weekend and everything. And then Call of Duty Black Ops 1, I was so good at it. And now I play Call of Duty, I'm like, dude, I'm a boomer. I can't keep up with these kids. So I think at this moment, it's just Pokemon Go I can keep up. I play old school RuneScape 2, which I'm okay at, but I'm not like, competitively good at it. So let's just stick it to one thing. I'm busy enough with Pokemon Go.
Yeah, maybe in the future streaming some FIFA on your on
You
your
will see me
channel.
rage the whole time, dude. I cannot do it anymore.
That's a great part of doing that, and that's a great part of having people watching you doing that.
Some people will like it, yeah. Some people like to see all of rage. I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll keep it for the future, and we never know. Well, okay, so that's a wrap for the question tonight. And but before saying us goodbye, please just tell us, tell the audience where they can find you, when they can follow your journey, and if you do any coaching, don't forget to mention any of these details.
I stream on Twitch under Inadequance. You can find me on YouTube under Inadequance and on X, Inadequance Pogo. Um, I don't coach. I used to because it just takes so much time, and I hate charging for it, especially if I can't see someone succeed. I've coached some people before, like mostly friends, and they do well, and then it doesn't go well, and they come back, and it feels like I want to teach. If I coach someone, I want to teach them how to play and how to think for themselves, rather than here's a team. This is how it works. I'm going to tell you every move, and they get a meta change. Pokemon's not relevant anymore. You have to start over. It just doesn't work for me. So I don't know. Maybe at some point again, but for now, it's just not really there. So no, maybe you'll see me compete again next season. I'm definitely hoping to do more than 4. I don't know what I'll be casting next season. There's a couple events I'm hoping to get, and everything else I want to compete in. So probably just playing every single European tour. Not playing, but I'll be attending every European tournament next season, and at least EUIC and / or NAIC. And if I qualify and I don't cast Worlds, then I'll play there too.
Okay, well, I'll try and play all the tournaments you actually cast, so that I'm safe. Okay, so thanks Martijn, for sharing your story and your thoughts, and some nice insight. There has been a nice chat, and I hope you had a good time. And I see you in California.
I'll be there.
And I wish you a great rest of your night, and take care.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much.